Explosive whispers leaking from the New Orleans Saints headquarters this week scream one undeniable truth. The top brass is plotting a massive, franchise-altering identity overhaul. Three explosive, game-changing scenarios are colliding right now, threatening to completely rewrite this squad's destiny for the upcoming grueling grind. Between shocking roster shakeups and intense tactical debates over young talent, the air in New Orleans absolutely crackles with pure, raw tension. You absolutely must grasp how these dominoes fall together. These are not random accidents. Let us plunge straight into the most explosive, urgent headline breaking today. Derek Carr sits dead in the eye of a massive offensive hurricane, while the franchise desperately calculates how to unleash his veteran firepower within their war plan. Analyzing their passing attacks reveals a desperate, clawing hunger to capture that explosive offensive heartbeat, which vanished completely during the brutal opening battles of this chaotic season. Roaming these heavily guarded halls, I have personally witnessed Carr grinding through grueling overtime sessions, frantically sharpening his lethal pinpoint connection with the receiving weapons. This obsession peaks on those dangerous intermediate strikes, crucial for igniting the complex West Coast blueprint they fiercely want to unleash. Massive financial shockwaves heavily loom. His gigantic contract structure forces a tiny, ticking window for glory before brutal salary cap nightmares trigger devastating, franchise-altering roster sacrifices. Tactically speaking, Carr dissects pre-snap defensive traps like a brilliant surgeon, which is a devastating necessity for a squad heavily surviving on lightning-fast audibles to annihilate vicious, head-hunting blitzes from bitter division enemies. The Commanders are piling staggering pressure onto his back, praying his battle-tested instincts will brutally dominate the tempo and fiercely guard the rock. A suffocating, terrifying urgency is drowning the locker room, and that blazing inferno sparks directly from their commanding quarterback. Should Carr fire pinpoint daggers while facing absolute chaos, this offensive war machine will violently erupt, delivering the massive surge the brass has hungrily chased since spring. We absolutely must intensely analyze his epic history in do-or-die bloodbaths, where his icy veins alone have constantly separated miraculous, breathtaking triumphs from gut-wrenching, agonizing defeats. This franchise is walking a razor-thin tightrope between immediate glory and building an immortal dynasty, with Carr standing as the solitary, vital bridge connecting both worlds. His fiery command within the huddle stands absolutely unbreakable, even when the on-field fireworks wildly vanish. The diehards are screaming about scoring droughts, yet the ruthless game tape exposes catastrophic blocking failures and shallow trenches rather than the lone gunslinger's actual misfires. Keep your eyes peeled on future blueprints to see Commanders weaponize his pocket mastery. The Empire is gambling massive stakes on his ability to transform ordinary teammates into absolute warriors. Should his split-second choices sharpen as massive defenders crash down, New Orleans might finally forge the unbreakable momentum desperately required to violently conquer the NFC South battlefield. The roaring media circus attacking his legacy will remain savage because of monumental stakes, yet the locker room's unbreakable faith in his lethal arm stands absolute. We are staring down a terrifying crossroads. His absolute mastery over this war plan will solely decide if this squad sparks a legendary playoff crusade or dies completely. The crushing burden of ultimate victory is suffocating, but Carr has boldly conquered these terrifying cauldrons previously. While the army gears up for their next brutal war, his intense mental grind becomes the supreme obsession for the Commander's ruthless evaluation. We are aggressively hunting any sparks between him and the rookie targets. That lethal bond is the absolute skeleton key for unleashing this offense's terrifying maximum devastation. Pivoting violently away from the pocket, we must instantly attack the defensive trenches to witness how our hungry, savage young predators are evolving under pure fire. If this explosive breakdown of New Orleans' ruthless roster wars fires you up, smash that like button and subscribe. We are fiercely sworn to dropping hardcore, bleeding-edge intel directly from ground zero. Alvin Kamara absolutely stands as the thundering pulse of this vicious attack. His god-tier, multi-dimensional arsenal grants the warlords permission to unleash unimaginable tactical wizardry that leaves rival empires completely paralyzed. Fierce, raging debates erupt over burning him out, especially as our commanders desperately juggle feeding his beastly momentum while preserving his lethal explosive power for the season's grueling, do-or-die bloodbath. Tactically speaking, Kamara acts as an unstoppable checkdown weapon, constantly dragging terrified linebackers away from deep snipers, violently ripping open massive voids for teammates to utterly destroy the secondary. The split second his cleats hit the turf, rival masterminds are paralyzed by pure panic, forced to frantically defend his dual-threat ground and aerial annihilation, brutally strangling their desperate dreams of ever playing ruthless, man-to-man warfare. Deep insiders confess the franchise is incredibly terrified of his brutal physical wear. strictly forcing commanders to heavily weaponize smart load management during all their grueling, high-impact practice reps. This absolutely transcends mere mundane injury prevention. It is about calculating maximum devastation and immortal longevity. We have watched his aura single-handedly warp scoring drives, particularly near the end zone where his alien vision and lightning jukes become completely unstoppable. Breaking down this brutal roster architecture reveals Kamara as the absolute titan, the mighty foundation anchoring every single violent weapon this offense dares to deploy. The Empire stockpiled bodies in his shadow, yet absolutely zero humans exist who can replicate his unique, terrifying brand of nuclear-level destruction. Despite the massive financial debates surrounding his mega deal, his raw value to their soul is undisputed. He embodies the ruthless New Orleans spirit, radiating an unshakable alpha energy that anchors the entire locker room through violent, chaotic storms. Intense war room debates focus on unleashing him via pre-snap motion, hunting massive mismatches against slow-footed linebackers who get absolutely roasted by his elite, devastating route running. This aggressive tactical pivot stands as the ultimate master key to violently resurrecting the explosive, jaw-dropping highlight reels that vanished from their recent battles. The warlords are frantically playing mad scientist with wild offensive packages, desperately seeking to extract his maximum lethal venom without completely shattering his physical limits. Nailing that razor-thin sweet spot instantly blasts this offense into the stratosphere, while diehards fiercely question his remaining mileage. His freakish, iron-forged training protocols are ruthlessly engineered to preserve his dominant reign light years beyond the brutal, unforgiving expiration dates of normal tailbacks. His genius ability to morph his violent rushing style mid-battle showcases a legendary, ice-cold maturity rarely witnessed today. We are witnessing a ruthless, blood-sworn commitment to crown him the absolute epicenter of the slaughter, no matter who dares oppose them. The Empire fully realizes that once his nuclear engines roar to life, they can violently decimate any heavyweight contender alive. While stalking his every move on the practice turf, the absolute mission remains armoring his body for those do-or-die bloodbaths that forge epic playoff legends. Forget merely carrying the rock. New Orleans deploys this absolute weapon to completely shatter opposing defensive schemes. Spotting incoming rushers and instantly shifting blocking assignments proves this guy possesses an absolutely lethal gridiron mind. Heading into the gauntlet, his explosive production remains the absolute heartbeat dictating this entire rushing attack's destiny. Flipping over to the other side of the trenches, watch how these warriors battle fiercely through brutal, fresh obstacles. Cameron Jordan stands as the indestructible bedrock of this monstrous defensive line. His monumental impact wildly eclipses mere quarterback takedowns. Defining this squad's ruthless attitude means spotlighting his elite talent to seal the perimeter, trapping rivals in desperate passing downs. Lately, the commanders on the sideline desperately rely upon his grizzled experience to anchor a defense surviving chaotic roster shifts. Strategically speaking, this seasoned gladiator enforces fierce structural dominance, making absolutely certain every single rushing lane stays violently sealed, particularly whenever they deploy lighter sub-packages to brutally neutralize those high-flying modern aerial assaults. Observing his relentless tape study and practice habits reveals a hyper-focused assassin, remaining just as deadly as his rookie campaign. He flawlessly dissects every subtle habit those opposing blockers reveal, granting him explosive jump times off the cadence, seizing that fatal microsecond edge that completely dominates the violent trenches. His commanding voice proves absolutely critical for grooming raw quarterback hunters, carving out an exact blueprint for achieving legendary longevity. Looming financial constraints constantly ignite whispers regarding aging stars departing, yet his fierce loyalty never wavers. This man forms the unshakable, tactical foundation. Having his terrifying power securing the perimeter, unleashes the play callers to dial up absolutely vicious blitzing onslaughts. Possessing such an electrifying general behind closed doors carries immeasurable value, primarily while battling the brutal exhaustion of a grueling campaign. He perfectly embodies this franchise's unyielding grit, radiating an infectious, savage grinding mentality across the entire trench warfare brotherhood. We are witnessing a concentrated, vicious push from the front four to wreck the pocket without blitzing, unleashing Cameron's true brilliance. Whenever he forces multiple blockers to panic and engage him, massive voids shatter open for the interior beasts to feast, powering the absolute core of their destructive game plan. The city worships his mythic past, but his real-time violence fuels their immediate championship hunt. He endlessly weaponizes his arsenal, unleashing shocking new maneuvers to leave massive tackles reeling. Such ruthless obsession guarantees his terrifying reign endures. Glancing at the brutal upcoming slate, His ferocious run-stuffing collisions will prove just as critical as his legendary quarterback hunting. The sideline generals place blind faith in him, conquering the absolute toughest battlefield matchups, echoing his legendary dependability. Whenever games hit that chaotic final period, he violently rallies the troops, locking down flawless adjustments amidst the roaring panic. Predicting the snap before the center even moves showcases a lethal instinct forged only through countless bloody gridiron wars. While this squad violently claws for ultimate divisional supremacy, the absolute savagery of their defensive line will dictate victory or defeat. His immortal Hall of Fame status is locked. Yet, an agonizing hunger to drag another championship trophy back home fuels his relentless daily grind. We must fiercely monitor his exact usage rates, watching coordinators strategically unleash his rested fury right when the brutal playoff push ignites. His dominance forms the absolute nucleus of their master plan. New Orleans faces a thrilling crossroads, resting crushing championship dreams squarely on seasoned icons. From supercharging the scoring attack to fortifying the brutal defensive trenches, their safety net is vanishing with every ticking week. Battling the exhausting mid-year gauntlet, these commanders are desperately hunting for that spark to ignite raw talent into a terrifying winning streak. What explosive catalyst will finally launch this squad to the top? Drop your boldest takes down below, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and brace yourselves. The New Orleans Saints balance on a razor's edge, bracing for an earth-shattering shift that could redefine this entire historic franchise. Quarterback Derek Carr stands locked in the eye of this hurricane, bearing the ultimate burden of sparking life back into a dangerously erratic offensive unit, desperate for an explosive revival. Whispers echoing out of the training camp reveal our gunslinger tirelessly forging an unbreakable bond with his elite wideouts, obsessively dialing in those crucial mid-range strikes demanded by their ruthless West Coast playbook. His unmatched genius at dissecting enemy alignments pre-snap and audibling into flawless countermeasures stands as his ultimate weapon, a sheer necessity when clashing with bloodthirsty, blitz-happy divisional foes. Yet, the suffocating pressure upon him is absolute. His rigid financial pact drastically handcuffs the front office, forging a terrifyingly brief window that ruthlessly demands instant, spectacular victories from the entire staff. Haters love attacking his turbulent numbers, but digging deeper exposes an embattled offensive trench and utterly smothered targets as the true culprits strangling this once feared aerial assault. Through this brutal adversity, our signal caller's fiery locker room command stays absolute. His icy veins during clutch, do-or-die moments still fuel undeniable faith for a miraculous, championship-caliber comeback. Meanwhile, the absolute soul of this attack still beats fiercely for Alvin Kamara, a game-breaking juggernaut possessing truly unrivaled versatility across the roster. Calling him merely a tailback is an insult. He operates as a lethal, scheme-shattering weapon simply by stepping onto the field. Sprinting, catching, or drawing fire, this superstar holds enemies hostage on every single play, magically ripping open massive scoring lanes for his brothers in arms. Now, the Commanders face a terrifying tightrope walk, squeezing every drop of greatness from his body while desperately shielding his future health through meticulous, agonizing load management. Defensively, legendary Cameron Jordan remains an immovable titan, anchoring the trenches through pure gridiron IQ, battle-scarred wisdom, and absolute fury. Box scores miss his true terrifying aura. He commands the merciless rhythm of the front while forging raw, untested rookies into fierce future warriors. While looming salary cap, nightmares, and massive lineup overhauls breed absolute chaos, this iconic veteran stands incredibly firm as the ultimate rock amid the storm. Ultimately, this fabled franchise battles a treacherous gauntlet, staking their entire survival on seasoned legends fighting alongside hungry, rising phenoms. This next brutal, do-or-die warpath, paired with highly aggressive tactical gambles from the sideline bosses, will definitively prove if these warriors can resurrect their former glory and violently conquer their division once again. New Orleans faces a brutal, do-or-die transformation. Every eye is locked on their explosive new attack and whether it can truly conquer today's cutthroat National Football League. Sideline masterminds are unleashing wild, high-octane schemes. They are weaponizing pure speed, frantic pacing, and clever gaps to completely shatter opposing defenses everywhere. This brutal revolution goes beyond clever trickery. It is a desperate mission to ignite absolute maximum firepower from a squad deeply starving for dangerous, reliable pass-catching superstars. Rookie weapons are being thrust straight into the blazing fire. Their rapid survival will utterly dictate if this scoring machine violently erupts or completely collapses. Forging an unbreakable bond between Derek Carr and these raw warriors is a grueling war. It demands endless reps, blind faith, and perfect strikes amidst terrifying battlefield chaos. Meanwhile, fortifying the trenches is a literal life or death mission. Catastrophic blocking failures have brutally massacred far too many epic drives right at the starting line. Erecting an impenetrable passing fortress will finally unleash terrifying deep bombs. This forces panicked rivals backward while carving up their shallow zones with merciless precision. Walking that razor wire between pure fury and cold calculation will forge their destiny. In blood-curdling final moments, flawless strikes violently divide true champions from pathetic frauds. Defensively, New Orleans confronts a colossal test. They must fiercely guard their skull-cracking reputation while thrusting unproven warriors directly into the fiery heart of combat. Losing legendary generals rips open thrilling paths for hungry rookies. Yet, it also injects dangerous, nerve-wracking chaos into their daily rhythm and critical battlefield chatter. Cameron Jordan stands as their invincible alpha wolf. His fiery guidance is absolutely priceless, setting brutal benchmarks for pure ferocity and readiness. Still, the front line must brutally suffocate rival quarterbacks organically. Ditching those desperate blitz attacks will miraculously unleash the defensive backs to roam wild and hunt. Forging a terrifying wave of quarterback hunters is absolute survival. They desperately need it against those explosive, high-octane division rivals. Furthermore, their killer instinct on critical third downs and inside the scoring box absolutely must skyrocket. Otherwise, this mighty squad gets mercilessly devoured all year. In this unforgiving league, the line separating glory from death is microscopic. A single tiny misstep can violently trigger an avalanche of utter catastrophe. In the end, total victory demands perfectly fusing grand dreams with ruthless action. They must smash together hardened veteran grit and blazing rookie fire to forge an unbreakable juggernaut. Nailing that magical sweet spot will spark something legendary. This terrifying phase of chaos could actually explode into the glorious bedrock of an unstoppable, victorious dynasty in New Orleans.